If books could talk, today we are talking to the awakened family.
Let me ask you something. Why is it that the more tutoring classes you sign your kid up for, the worse their grades get? Why is it that the harder you try to be a good parent, the more disobedient your child becomes? So tell me, what makes you say parents are the root of the problem?
Because most parents are raising a child that doesn't exist.
What do you mean, a child that doesn't exist?
There's a real kid standing right in front of you, but what you see is this imaginary version in your mind. The one who's supposed to be excellent, obedient, and a source of pride for you.
Wait a minute. Isn't that just having expectations for your kid? Which parent doesn't want their kid to do well?
Expectations and projection are two completely different things.
Speak plainly.
Expectation is, I hope you grow up healthy. Projection is, I didn't get into Harvard University back in the day, so you must get in for me.
Ow.
Do you know what the scariest part is? You think you love your kid, but what you actually love is your own anxiety.
That's harsh. But I do know parents who hover over their kids' homework every single day, and they're more stressed out than the kid. Are you saying they're anxious for themselves?
Yes. They're not afraid the kid can't learn. They're afraid of people saying, look, you can't even raise your own kid right.
So the kid becomes the parents' vanity project.
The kid becomes proof of the parents' self-worth.
What about the kid? What happens to them?
The kid suffocates. They're desperately trying to become themselves, but they're forced to become your ideal version of them.
Do you have a specific example of this?
There was a mom who forced her daughter to practice piano 3 hours every day.
That seems pretty normal, right?
Her daughter didn't even like piano. She liked drawing.
So why force her?
Because this mom, her biggest childhood dream was to be a concert pianist. But her family was poor, so she never got the chance to learn.
So she forced her dream onto her daughter.
Exactly. She thought she was giving her kid the best, but she was actually using her child's life to fill her own regrets.
What happened to the daughter?
When she turned 12, she smashed the piano.
Oh my God.
That's what I mean. You think you're loving them, but you're actually hurting them.
Hold on. Let me ask on behalf of parents. Are parents not allowed to have any expectations for their kids? Should they just let them do whatever they want?
You're confusing, not controlling, with letting them run wild. That's exactly the problem.
Aren't they the same thing?
Totally different. Not controlling means you respect the child as an independent person. Letting them run wild means you don't care about their growth at all.
How do you tell the difference, specifically?
Let me ask you. Your kid says they don't want to do homework. What do you do?
A normal parent would definitely step in.
There are two ways to step in. First way, you yell, you must do it, or no dinner for you. That's control.
What's the second way?
You ask them why they don't want to do it. Is it too hard? Or are they too tired? Let's figure out a solution together. That's guidance.
I get it. One is suppression. The other is communication.
But most parents don't even bother asking why their kid doesn't want to do homework. They just go straight to punishment.
Because they think the kid's just making excuses to be lazy.
See, you're using your own experience to judge your kid's feelings again.
That's not experience. That's just facts. Kids are lazy.
Okay, then let me ask you. When you're tired from work and want to rest, is that laziness?
That's different. I'm genuinely exhausted.
So when your kid says they're tired, it's fake.
Ow.
Deep down, subconsciously, you don't see your kid as an equal. You feel your emotions are real, but your child's emotions need to be corrected.
I'm getting a wake-up call here, but coming back to the topic, competition is so intense nowadays. If you don't push your kid, they'll fall behind.
When you push your kid, are you pushing them toward their talents or toward your fears?
What do you mean?
You make your kid learn advanced math. Is it because they're genuinely passionate about math? Or because you're afraid they won't get into a good school, won't find a job in the future, and your relatives will look down on you?
Well,
all your this is for your own good actions are just paying for your own fears. And the currency you're using is your kid's freedom.
That hits hard. But you know what? A lot of parents will say, I suffered because I wasn't educated. I can't let my kid make the same mistakes.
Have you ever thought that your struggles might not be your kids' struggles?
Why not?
Because times have changed. The world has changed. Your set of experiences might already be outdated.
So what you're saying is, parents need to let go of their own obsessions first.
Yes. I wrote something in my book. You can't give your kid something you've never had yourself.
Wait, that's loaded. Elaborate on that.
If you're filled with anxiety, you'll only pass that anxiety to your kid. If you're not happy yourself, how can you teach your kid to be happy?
So parents need to work on themselves first.
Yes, you need to become a whole person first, not just a shell living for your kid.
But a lot of parents really do sacrifice everything for their kids.
Sacrifice is the world's most expensive form of emotional blackmail.
How so?
You quit your job, give up your dreams, become a full-time parent, and then you tell your kid, I sacrificed so much for you. How can you not study hard?
Isn't that just a typical scenario in many families?
That's blackmail. You're turning your choice into your kid's debt.
The kid owes you.
No, the kid owes you nothing. You chose to sacrifice, and then you handed the bill to an innocent person.
Oh my God, I've never thought about it this way.
What's even worse is, your sacrifice becomes a lifelong shackle for your kid. Every choice they make, they'll think, am I letting my mom down?
That's guilt.
That's a life curse.
So what should we do? What's the right way for parents to act?
Awaken first.
Awaken to what?
Awaken to your own patterns. Why do you fly into a rage the moment your kid says no? Why do you feel like the world is ending when their grades drop?
Because that's normal, right?
No, that's not normal. That's your childhood trauma acting up.
Childhood trauma?
When you were a kid, you were probably treated the same way by your parents. So you copied that pattern and applied it to your own child.
Wait, are you saying I'm repeating my parents' mistakes?
Yes. Unless you awaken, you'll pass the hurt down from generation to generation.
That's terrifying.
That's why I say, the first step in raising your kid isn't signing them up for tutoring. It's healing yourself.
How do you heal? Give me something practical.
Next time you feel like yelling at your child, hit the pause button.
Then what?
Ask yourself 3 questions. First, why am I angry? Second, is this emotion coming from the kid in front of me, or from my own past? Third, what will my reaction do to my kid?
This is self-awareness.
Yes. Most parents react unconsciously. You need to turn the unconscious into conscious.
That takes serious self-control.
It's not self-control. It's self-knowledge. When you truly see your own patterns, you become free.
That piano mom you mentioned earlier, what happened to her?
She came to me for consultation. I asked her, what do you really want?
What did she say?
She cried. She said, I just want to prove that I'm not a failure.
So she was using her child to validate herself.
Yes. When she realized this, she let go. She let her daughter learn drawing, and she signed herself up for adult piano classes.
She went after her own dream.
Yes. 6 months later, her daughter won a gold medal in a drawing competition, and she could play a few songs herself.
Now that's a win-win situation.
That's awakening. You're responsible for your life. Your kid's responsible for theirs.
But I know a lot of parents will say, my kid's still young, they don't know what's good for them.
Kids might not know what's good for them, but they know what makes them happy.
Happiness and success, aren't those sometimes at odds?
Only unhappy people think happiness and success contradict each other.
What do you mean?
True success is doing what you love and doing it to the fullest. The process itself is happy.
So you're saying, let kids follow their talents.
Follow their talents, respect their rhythm.
What does respecting their rhythm mean?
Every kid has their own development timeline. Some kids can read at 5. Others only figure it out when they're 7.
But school won't wait for them.
So what you need to do isn't force them to catch up with others, but help them find their own path.
That's easy to say but hard to do.
Because you want instant results. But raising kids is always a slow process.
Slow parenting?
Yes. You have to allow kids make mistakes. Allow them take detours. Allow them have their own pace.
But our education system doesn't allow that.
The system is rigid, but people are flexible. You can give your kid maximum freedom within the system.
How?
For example, your child gets a 60 on a test. Don't immediately yell at them. First, ask them, how do you feel about this test?
Let them evaluate themselves.
Yes. Then ask, what do you think you can improve? Do you need my help?
This is about building their initiative.
It's about developing their ability to take responsibility for themselves. The grade is just the result. What they learned in the process is what matters.
I notice you keep emphasizing one word, self.
Because the ultimate goal of education is to let the child become who they are.
Not to become excellent.
Their true self is the most excellent version.
I need to write that down.
There's an even more important one.
What?
Your relationship with your kid is more important than how you educate them.
Why?
If your relationship is confrontational, they won't hear anything you say. If your relationship is connected, you don't even need to say anything. They'll learn anyway.
How do you build that connection?
See them. Truly see them.
See them? Don't we see them every day?
Do you see a problem child who needs fixing? Or a unique, valuable human being?
Well,
most parents are focused on their kids' flaws. They didn't finish homework. You see that. They brought you your slippers. But you don't see that.
because homework is their responsibility, and getting slippers is no big deal.
See, you're judging again. In your kid's mind, helping you with your slippers is a way of showing love.
Am I ignoring their love?
You're ignoring their feelings as a person. You only care if they meet your standards.
That's so common.
That's why awakening is needed.
If parents watching this video can only remember one method, what would you recommend?
Spend 10 minutes every day. Put down your phone. Put down your expectations. And just look at your kid. Just look. Just look into their eyes. Listen to them. Feel their presence.
Don't talk about studying. Don't talk about grades.
Don't talk about anything. Just be with them.
Does that work?
Try it for a month and tell me what happens.
Great. I'll tell the parents watching this video to give it a try. Last question. What kind of parent is truly awakened?
The parent who is able to stand in front of their child and admit, I don't know either.
Admit you don't know.
Admit imperfection. Admit you're still learning. And that you make mistakes too.
Won't that lose your authority?
You lose false authority, but gain real connection.
Will kids respect you more?
They'll love you more. Because you step down from the pedestal and become a real person.
I get it. One final question. If you could only give parents one piece of advice, what would you say?
Stop asking, how do I change my kid? Start asking, what do I need to change? Because your child is not your masterpiece. They're your mirror. They're reflecting all your unfinished work.
So what is the essence of awakening the family?
It's the parent's awakening. When you stop using your kid to fill the void inside you, that's when your kid can truly become themselves. And that's the highest form of love. Allow them freely be themselves, not the person you expect them to be.
Everyone, this might be the hardest truth you've ever heard. The problem with our kids starts with us, but that's also the biggest hope, because changing yourself is always easier than changing someone else. The question is, are you ready to face your real self? The Awakened Family. It's a book that will make you hurt, but also help you grow. Like and subscribe. Which book do you want me to interview next? Let me know in the comments.